Hello, everyone. This is Durrani and Sharif from VG247.com. And oh my goodness gracious, it's finally time.
We're back,
Battlefield.
Durrani. We're back.
Yes, we're back.
We
Battlefield.
waited all summer for this.
Yep. Battlefield 2042. The beta is now live by the time you're watching this video. But Sharif, the lucky mother, has been given the opportunity to play earlier than everyone else alongside some other people for a preview. And we thought we'd take this opportunity to speak about the beta, speak about his experiences with it. He's got his notes ready to go. I've got a couple of my notes, and we're just going to get cracking. We have other gameplay footage for you guys to watch. If you don't want to hear us rambling over the gameplay, we have other no commentary gameplay footage for you to watch on our channel, so check those out as well. So, Sharif.
Yeah, so I basically, just to set expectations, I played what everyone's going to be playing this week and weekend, which is basically the beta. I played it for about 3 hours. It's just a one-map orbital, 128 players, we'll get into that, and just on Conquest. So basically, I just played the beta that you're playing early. But yeah, impressions are at the start fairly positive. A few of the things that I usually look for in a Battlefield are there, but there are problems. There are some balance, some design, some technical problems.
We'll break that down. So first on the list, so let's speak about your first impressions a bit more. So you said that everything's fairly positive. So you're a big Battlefield fan. You're a big Battlefield fan. Does it live up to the hype? Your first impressions. Let's talk about it. Go for it. You're free to talk.
I think in terms of design, in terms of ambition, it does. I think when we talked about the original reveal, I wasn't, I was expecting a normal, just modern Battlefield. But what they showed and what they talked about, I was like, oh, this is the ambitious, all these different systems. And I think when they come together, like when you see 128 players, when you see the weather and the dynamic events, the rocket launch is the kind of the highlight of Orbital.
Of this map,
Yeah, and then sometimes the tornado rolls in. I'm sure you'll see in our videos and others as well. Whenever it rolls in, everyone is like flying their helicopters and just moving around just to watch it kind of work. And then, when the gunplay and vehicles and combined arms and, you see all the things in Battlefield are there. There are some interesting, new additions that kind of take some getting used to, like the plus menu, which let you customize your weapon on the field.
It looks really cool, by the way. That looks, in the gameplay that you've shown me, that looks amazing.
It's a good way to get yourself killed if you want to be, let me see, what caliber do I...
That's one thing I did actually see that. I'll put the gameplay on screen now of you like reading let's add this barrel attachment, let's add this scope for you to just get shot in the side of your head.
Yeah, so hot tip for you, do it behind cover or indoors. Don't fucking stand in the open and be like, this is kind of a long range fight, do I need to? No, don't do that. But yeah, there's a bunch of like cool elements like this. Vehicles, like a big part of vehicles now is that basically almost every seat has a job to do. So you're almost always going to have a gunner or someone dropping something, lures or whatever.
No passengers.
There are passengers, but you're almost always going to have at least one offensive slot. Even on like the normal kind of buggy, which I think they call the LATV4, there's at least one gunner position. The rest are passengers. There's almost always something to do. You're not gonna, there's always something happening. A lot of dynamic events, not just in the bigger kind of rocket launch or tornado. You'll shoot like because this map is supposed to be, the rocket launch is being serviced by, there's an assembly line. There's like a cooling kind of area where they, I don't know, keep something under, the temperature or something. And there are these coolant tanks full of, whatever it is, liquid nitrogen or whatever it is they use to cool it. If you shoot these tanks or if they explode for whatever reason, everyone in that area is going to have like a frostbite, like the screen's going to have like all the ice encroaching, which is like a tiny little thing that happens. I don't think it deals damage, but it's annoying because when it happens, you're like, what's happening? Oh, someone shot the coolant things. Stuff like this. Someone will shoot the fire suppression system inside like a warehouse or a hangar, and the fire will come popping, or like a fire extinguisher will just have the smoke, like stuff like this that you're like, oh, this is like a lot of interactivity going on that really add to the feel of it.
Yeah, that sounds almost like they're trying to add some sort of like narrative for the map, having that coolant scenario happen. So let's discuss sort of what makes Battlefield. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like it's a specific element. So the destruction. Let's speak about the destruction. Is destruction still destructing?
So destruction actually was one of the things. Well, in general, Dice did not show a lot of this game right up until this week, basically.
Yeah.
But destruction was one of those elements that they kind of talked about, and you'd see here and there, but everyone kind of felt, or Battlefield fans, I feel, felt maybe it's not going to be good in this time around, or maybe they focused on like the scale, the 128 players. Maybe destruction was scaled back a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's just basically like Battlefield 4. In fact, this map has, I would say, similar buildings to the ones you have on like Caspian Border or Operation Firestorm from BF3 and BF4,
Yeah.
where it's like a kind of like a wide, tall warehouse, stone walls that can be blown up, windows that can be destroyed, kind of air ducts, all that stuff. But the skeletal structure, like the metal holding it, will remain.
Yeah.
So if you just like, if you play BF3 or BF4 Caspian Border, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's one, like a bunch of these buildings exist in Orbital. There's a couple of others like, oh, this is like a radar installation. There's like like the coolant tanks that I talked about. Like all these things are explode. It's not like, it doesn't have the precision of something like Bad Company 2, and it doesn't
Okay.
have the massive kind of revolution stuff of BF4. There are a couple of skyscrapers in the map that you can't do anything with. Like you can
Yeah.
get on top of them, you can fight obviously around them, but you can't destroy them.
So it's like they found a happy medium.
I would like to see like other maps where maybe the structures are not these sort of like business warehouses that we have.
Yeah.
Like kind of maybe if there's like a village with like maybe different kind of houses, or like maybe like if I don't know if like we still have like a like a European style, kind of like the stuff that you see in World War II, where everything is made out of wood and not so much stone. That's stuff that I would like to see. But overall, it is it's going to surprise people, because I feel like if people kind of lowballing what that's going to be, and it's fine. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
The big stuff is going to be the interactivity for destruction.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And the gunplay, so we spoke about the plus menu. So the plus menu is the ability to change your weapons attachments on the fly. How does that feel? Because to me, I feel like that takes a lot of, I don't know, it speeds the game up, or it gets rid of the whole, okay, the weapon that I've chosen isn't working for this life, and before you'd have to wait to die or maybe pick up someone else's kit. Now you can, okay, I've got an AR, but I've got a red dot sight, but there's a guy 100 meters away. This red dot sight isn't doing enough. Now you can just swap to 4x scope, 4x ACOG. Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, that feels good. I think it's a really good idea. I probably, if I had to guess, I would say a lot of like modern shooters are going to have this in the future. Because it's just so intuitive that you're like, especially in a game like Battlefield, where you're constantly changing ranges and constantly changing environments. Anyone who played Battlefield, we know, like, you're just going to take pot shots with your red dot on someone 100 meters away. You're not going to do any damage, and you're just going to move on. Now you could just say, okay, let me put on the more accurate sight, as you mentioned. That stuff is cool. The number of attachments available to you in each kind of side of the gun, you can, obviously you can mess around with the sight, you can mess around with the barrel, and there's an under barrel, which could be a foregrip, could be like a grenade launcher, and then usually something else, on the side rail, like like a red, not excuse me, like a flashlight or something like that, and then usually there's a magazine option, which is not just the capacity, it's also the caliber. So
Okay.
some of them have like, oh, this is gonna really screw up your handling, but it's gonna give you better range.
Yeah.
Or this one has more bullets. It's a smaller caliber, so the rate of fire is going to be higher, and the range is going to be completely shot. So this is like kind of how you build your weapons. I didn't get a sense of how many attachments every gun has. There was no menu or no option to, like older Battlefield games, to be like, oh, you have 6 sights and
Yeah.
5 barrels. No, it was just the ones that you spawned with are the ones on the plus menu. But the way it was presented leads me to believe there will be more, because some weapons
Mhm.
had suppressors, some of them had longer barrels. Excuse me. Some of them had, like it was inconsistent and scattershot in a way that suggests like, of course everyone is going to have a suppressor.
Mhm.
But you can only fit like 3 or 4 on that menu. So I would have to assume there is another menu where you can say, I want to bring these 5 attachments on the field.
Yeah.
But I have not
Yeah.
seen that.
Okay, I would like to see that in like a game like Escape from Tarkov. Just an absolute random thought, but that would be awesome. And I can see it, as you said, that feature being introduced to other games. I
Yeah.
think this is one of those features that becomes a cornerstone in first person shooters. And it looks quite understandable. Like the readability of it, it seems like it makes sense. As you're changing, I see on the left side of the screen it says, "Oh, plus handling, plus range, plus bullet velocity, things like that." So it looks quite easy to understand for everyone, which is always good. I feel like it is quite easy for them to design that in a way where it is completely bogged down with useless information to the majority of people.
Mhm.
So the way they've done it, it looks simple enough to understand. I spoke about weapon handling. The handling from the footage I'm seeing and the footage that everyone's watching this video, it looks slightly more arcadey. Is that fair to say?
I think that's absolutely fair to say. It's basically it's a little Call of Duty than I would like.
Hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Uh, what I mean by this is there's barely any recoil for any of the guns that I've used. Even when you use like the high calibers that you can definitely see on the graph, it's hitting your accuracy.
yeah,
Barely any recoil. Yet, for some reason, or maybe that was just me, but like I never felt accurate at range. So even though the recoil is barely there,
hmm,
your gun feels like it's shooting in a circle, like it's shooting around where you want it to be. And I never quite landed. We only played for like less than 3 hours, and I never quite understood. Was that me just moving a lot and just my bullets going all over the place, or was there
yeah,
something I'm not missing? Usually that happens to me in Call of Duty, where I'm like, I'm really good at compensating for recoil. I play a lot of shooters. Why am I not hitting this target?
yeah.
Uh, so this was weird. Maybe this is something that we'll see, like when more weapons are introduced and we get to spend more time with it. But it felt strange. It didn't feel quite like Battlefield.
Yeah. So you're saying that there could be some weapon tuning. I feel like that's something that's quite hard to understand or to convey if we're not playing it.
Yeah,
So who knows? It could be you're playing on a PC as well, so mouse and keyboard,
that's
where
right.
the recoil is, of course, easier to control. On controller, that would be a completely different story.
Yeah,
But that's fair and valid to say. If you felt that way, you felt that way. We'll see if it's an issue that is brought up by the wider community. We'll be focusing on the Reddits and seeing what people are saying, because everyone has an opinion. So people are gonna say, "Oh, dude, this gunplay is feeling weird." But yeah.
yeah.
So I'm from just me looking at it, looks a bit more arcadey. And you said you agree with that. What about the movement? I'm seeing some sliding action going on as well. Does
Yeah,
it feel
this is
faster or slower? Like in terms of just your moment, like your neutral movement, does it feel faster or slower?
in first person, like it seems fine. Like for the map sizes that we have, I didn't feel faster or slower than past Battlefield games. But
Yeah,
other people feel like they're skating. Like this could be like an element of netcode, obviously, which we'll get to.
yeah.
But like I have been in situations where someone, I feel like I just checked the stairs and then I looked to the left and then someone just popped on the stairs and killed me. And I'm like,
Okay.
how did you like? What speed are you moving at? Were you to for you to get like from the second I turn, the millisecond I turned to the left, and then you were here, and then you were shooting and you killed me? Like how
Yeah,
fast? I feel like there's some interpolation going on.
yeah,
Uh, the sliding though is the thing that I feel like they really need to look at because one of my like I absolutely detest the slide spam in Warzone and in the Modern Warfare Call
yeah,
of Duty. I
yeah,
genuinely get a headache anytime I watch someone doing it. I just can't do it.
yeah.
If I'm watching like a friend spectating him or like I'm watching a stream, it gives me a headache. Like all the slide spamming, all that stuff. I don't care that it's a movement scalability. I don't care. Like you can have
It's because
skill
it's
in other ways,
abusable. It's abusable. That's why.
and I don't want to be have to work to get to that level to be competitive.
Yeah,
That's another problem with it. In 2042, the cooldown is barely there. It's like a second or a second and a half. You can
yeah.
just spam that sucker like all the way and combo it into jumps. I have seen people do some shit that I'm like
God
props to
damn.
them. Obviously, we were playing with a lot of really hardcore Battlefield players who are significantly better than I was.
Yeah,
And some of the stuff that I've seen, I was like, "How the hell are you landing these headshots, jumping, sliding?" I was like, "Okay,
yeah.
man, sure, whatever." Okay. The other thing I will say, this game has the Modern Warfare 2019 Super Sprint. I can't remember what they call it
As
here.
in double time.
As
As
in
in
double
like the.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you can. It's got the two levels. So for people that don't know what that is, so there's three movement speeds. So there's your walk, there's your sprint, and then what Call of Duty calls double time, which is you holster your gun, you put your gun into a comfortable position, and you start legging it.
Yeah.
So there's okay. That's how did that feel?
That felt good. It was a nice, I understand why you'd have it in a battlefield. Maybe not so much Call of Duty because the maps of Call of Duty that don't require that. It felt
Yeah,
good. It's a massive speed boost, obviously, because it's faster.
yeah.
I didn't use it enough time to see if there's like a penalty to how long it takes for you to get your gun ready.
Yeah.
But it was limited enough. The only benefit actually that I saw for it is that it increases the speed of the slide further. So if you really want to go
Oh
on the
my
slide,
god.
start the slide with like the super sprint, and then start super sprinting and then slide.
Yeah.
I've seen people doing it, and I swear to God, they're skating. They're not even moving anymore. There's no friction on the ground. Yeah, that was a real kind of a bummer for me because it was like I can't track people. I have a mouse and keyboard and I can't track people pretty well.
Yeah.
Which again, only played it for 3 hours. Maybe that will change, but cool
Yeah.
it with the slide, please.
Yeah. These are things that will get tuned once because they're balancing the game from a limited pool of players. So their dev team is what they're balancing it around. And I'm sure they've got some amazing players in their dev team. But when you give it to millions of players, they will soon realize what is being abused, what is a bit too intrusive to the gameplay. Like for example, in Destiny 2, the sliding it was a massive issue. People sliding all around the place, slide shotgun, doing all sorts of
Oh yeah.
abusable movement, and then they had to tone it down. And it took years for them to agree that the slides were too overpowered. But all they done was shorten the range, shorten the speed, and then it brought it back into line. So we'll see how that plays out. The vehicles. Let's talk about the vehicles now. I know you said that every vehicle sort of every seat has a role now. I saw that the vehicles there's not like a little hangar, like in the previous Battlefield games, there was like a
Yeah.
little hangar, like where all the vehicles sort of sit and stay until someone occupies them.
Yeah.
I saw you just click one button and you were just good to go, ready. And yeah, tell me
Yeah,
about
the
that.
hand of God places your vehicle on the board. In planes, it's literally like you spawn in the air. It's like
Yeah,
someone placed like a thing
yeah.
in the air.
That was the case for
And
jets before, right? I'm trying to remember because you could
uh,
spawn in the air in jets. That's in one of the battlefields.
well, they changed it a bunch of times. In 1 and 5, you would come in from like off screen. In some other games, you would
Yes.
take off from like the
Yeah.
HQ. This game, basically, like the HQ in 2042, is basically it's just your last spawn, last resort, basically.
Yeah.
If you decide to spawn on a tank, there's a vehicle menu on the map screen, just like in BF1 and BF5. And then when you click it, it will say, okay, do you want a scout vehicle? Do you want an attack vehicle? Here are your options. Do you want a
Yeah.
plane? Here are your options. And it's going to tell you how many of them are on the board and why you can't select anymore. So, there can't be more than, let's say, 2 jets. That's it.
Yeah.
When you have two jets, it's going to have like a cross on it. You won't be able to select it until one of them dies. And the same goes for every other thing on that menu. If it's a plane, it's going to spawn in the air. If it's a ground vehicle, it's going to spawn in HQ, and then you're going to take it to wherever you want it to go. It's a neat system. I didn't find it. It's probably too late for them to go back to have people taken off from the ground and refueling and all that stuff. Like the gunplay, it felt a little bit arcadey. I didn't spot any abilities to repair vehicles. They just regen their health like a normal soldier would. So if people are worried about that, because that was like introduced in past Battlefield, a couple past Battlefields.
So there's no engineer class?
Well, there is an engineer class, but we'll get into the class play in a little bit. But you can have a repair tool essentially, and repair a tank if you want. But that's not like the mainly usually what you'll see happen is just the tanker backing off, waiting for the regen to happen, and then re-engaging. You have like some defensive abilities. We couldn't mess around with unlocks in the tanks. They give you like a preset essentially. Every tank has smoke. Every tank has like normal shells and a heavy MG for support. But yeah, it felt arcadey. Like the movement, they were pretty fast, except for the turret turn for some reason, which seemed like very Battlefield 5 to me, which was like a weird feeling to have like the tactical Battlefield 5. Like this is a slow turning turret, and the fast move speed of Battlefield 4 of like these tanks are moving. It felt weird. Overall, I think the handling was better than I expected. I would say the scout vehicles are a little slippery. Like I feel like the back end tries to really slide, and I'm like, just slow down, let me go straight. You don't need to every slope. You don't need to. One other thing worth mentioning, I didn't spot any. So here's the thing: entering and exit animations have been a thing since Battlefield 1. And you could, some people like them, some people don't. For some reason, if you're the driver, there are no entry or exit animation. You hit the button and then you're in. You hit the button and then you're out. However, when someone spawns on you, you can see them doing the animation, opening the hatch, getting their bodies in, closing the hatch when they're spawning as a gunner.
Yeah.
So what I don't know is, does that mean that the entry and exit animations for drivers are just not there yet? Like there wasn't in this build, and you're going to have them in the final game? Or if this is just like a visual flourish and your gunner actually is already shooting, this is just an animation that you see play, which is like we disconnect. But
maybe these are things that we can't set in stone yet, because this is still a beta. So even just a broad note for this whole conversation about the beta, this isn't the final game. So a lot of things that could be a gripe might not even be present in the full build. You mentioned classes. Battlefield has always had classes, but this time they've gone far and wide to create something that we've seen in other games. A lot of class abilities now. We're seeing grappling hooks and turrets. And speak to me a little bit about the classes.
So classes still exist. They have basically 4 of them. They're essentially now archetypes, which is basically the real focus is on specialists, which specialists basically offer different takes on the same class.
So clarify that for me, because that.
Yeah.
So there's classes and there's specialists.
Yeah.
So specialists are within the classes?
That's right.
Okay, so 4 classes, how many specialists per class?
Roughly? In the beta, we have 1 for each, which makes it a little rough to try and understand like their vision for it. Because you only have 1 take on everything.
Yeah.
But in the full game, there will be 6 more for a total of 10. And I would assume it will be 2 each, maybe like 1.
So 2
1,
each.
2, maybe, I don't know. There are 4 classes, so maybe 2, and then 1 on 1. The thing is with classes is basically they have kind of, it's a weird thing. Like they have eroded the class system that you know from Battlefield, because everyone can equip anything. Any specialist can equip any gun.
Yeah. Oh,
And
praise the God, praise the Lords, because we had this conversation ages ago
yeah,
about that's one of the things I've always hated in Battlefield, the fact that classes have specific weapons. I am a person that likes to, if I want to be a sniper medic, let me be a sniper medic. If I want to, you know what I mean? It just adds
yeah.
that freedom. That should just be normal. But it's fine. That's how Battlefield is, and I accepted it for way too long. But I'm happy that it's now changed. Sorry, continue.
No more. But yeah, you can equip any weapon that you want, regardless of the specialist, regardless of the class.
Yeah,
Also, a lot of the gadgets that you traditionally associate with classes, like the ammo box,
yeah,
the health pack, the rocket launcher, the repair tool, all of these things that usually are locked, you can also equip these in your gadget slot
yeah,
by any person. Uh,
yeah.
so uh,
Freedom.
right? So you can be the only medic available in this beta is Falk, the German lady,
Hmm.
and her special gadget. The only thing that obviously cannot be can only be used by the person that you're playing is a special gadget, which is this is like a unique thing to them.
Yeah,
So in her case, it's like I think they call it a Surette pistol, which is basically it's a pistol that you shoot to heal enemies. Sorry, excuse me, to heal teammates from a distance.
yeah.
Think of it like a stim shot.
Okay.
So and he yourself. So you could, if you wanted to. Uh, Obviously, if you play as her, you're going to have that pistol guaranteed, and you could
Hmm.
maybe carry in the other slot a rocket launcher, so you can fight tanks, heal people, and heal yourself,
Yeah.
and use the gun that you want, whatever that may be. So that's the thing that you will run across a lot.
They had to change
Uh,
that pistol, right? It used to be able to revive
yes,
people, and they had it was too strong.
it was too strong. Yeah, you can't revive people now. You can just heal them from a distance. If you revive, you'll have to just
Run up,
yeah
defib.
run up. Although her revive animation is slower, excuse me, faster than normal squad revives. So
Okay, yeah.
there's that. Uh,
It looks good. It reminds me of Doc from Rainbow Six. The pistol. I don't know, I'm not sure if you're
yes,
familiar with Rainbow Six. Yeah,
yes, that's a
Doc from
good
Rainbow
yeah,
Six.
that's a good call.
And what about some of the other classes? Sorry, the other specialists.
Yes. Yeah, I tried all of them. The one other I would say is interesting next to Falk because everybody loves healing. You love healing. I
Yeah,
love healing. The other one I would say is McKay, who has the grappling hook, which is indispensable in dealing with campers and anyone who likes to sit down and fucking sit up on some roof somewhere.
yeah,
I would say verticality is a big deal in this game, even for a map like this, which is mostly rolling hills.
yeah,
A couple of buildings with verticalities, if you're not scanning the top every time you pass by them, someone is probably going to shoot you from there.
yeah.
And if you have one of these grappling hooks, you basically just attach to the edge of like a railing or whatever. You vault over it once he's up, and you shoot that person or you fight that
Only to
person.
railings? Is it only to railings, or is
No,
it? Can
any
you just
you can no you
any?
can any basically any ledge essentially.
So are we talking like Pathfinder from Apex Legends sort of
No,
like movement? Because that
no,
that seems crazy.
it's a little more reserved than that. You're not going to be able to swing around. Like the momentum is such that you're mostly traveling in a straight line.
Yeah.
You can do some movement along the way, but it's not really, it's not really Pathfinder.
So what happens if you grappling hook to somewhere high up and you fail? Like you don't like do the clamber and hop over. What happens if you go somewhere high up and you fall? You're dead, right? There's no like he doesn't get
No,
like special exception or
no, he doesn't. Well, everybody has a parachute, so you're just gonna pull your parachute
ah
and try again.
yes yes
No big
that
deal.
is true dude. I grappling hooks in games like this often is it either makes or breaks the ability because in Halo Infinite, another FPS game that's coming out soon that also has a grappling hook in it, and it's slow enough so it's not abusable, but it's still like holy crap. You have to look up a lot more in Halo now because
Yeah.
people might be grappling in the air and doing all sorts of madness. But did it feel obnoxious? I think that's a good word. Does the grappling hook feel obnoxious?
It's hard to say. I will tell you that a lot of the people camping on rooftops were playing as McKay
Yeah,
in my time with it. So it's probably going to be popular for that reason.
McKay snipers. Oh,
So
people.
yeah, I'm pretty sure like 90% of the snipers that killed me on rooftops were playing as McKay, which
Yeah.
makes sense. You can also use the grappling hook to get around just normal lateral, just on the same level as you are. You don't need to get
Yeah.
on a roof somewhere. It's like, think of it as like a fast kind of, like if you play Black Ops 3, the shitbag character with like a mohawk had a grappling hook.
Ah, yes.
That person, it's something like that. It's on a cooldown. You can't use it a lot. You can't spam it, but the range is fairly forgiving. You can make some movements, adjustments along the way, but it's mainly point A to point B. It's not
Okay.
I'm just gonna swing around and do things.
Yeah. No, that is good. And I'm gonna assume that for future updates, when Battlefield drops their expansions for 2042, these are things that they can add new specialists in. And it's like, here's a new gadget, similar to how, Rainbow Six again. They bring in new characters, and they have just like it's the same as everyone else, but it's just the one gadget is different. And I'm assuming it's going to be easier for Battlefield because they're not as intrusive or like game shaping as like a Valorant or any other hero based. I hate that I have to say hero based and we're speaking about
They
Battlefield.
kind of are,
It's
though.
so
They kinda
yeah. It's like hero based, skill based, that sort of stuff. That is. Yeah, well, they have to get with the times, isn't it? EA Battlefield, they have to get with the times, and that's what works. And it's not a bad thing. It's most definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's I'm reserving judgment on that element until I play more of the game.
Yeah.
All of them felt the other two, just to quickly go over them. The Russian dude has a turret that shoots enemies and vehicles. It's very self-explanatory. And Casper, who's the one with the ghillie suit or the ghillie top, it's not a full suit. That dude has a drone that can EMP vehicles and EMP turrets and other drones and stuff like that. And you can just leave it spotting, just hovering, spotting around you, supporting your team.
That's quite OP.
Yeah, it's again, like I haven't really put enough time to be able to tell you like, but there are some counters. Like I said, the drone can counter the turret, it can EMP it. There are things that you could foresee being kind of counterplay. But it's too early to say now. It's like, what does this do? Okay, cool. That's that's what it is for now.
Yeah, but you didn't see or come across anything where you thought, okay, this is OP. This needs to be changed.
No.
Okay.
It's so far been useful stuff.
That is good. The maps. What about the player visibility? That's always a big thing in Battlefield games because sometimes the players kind of blend into the background. How do the maps feel, and how do the players sort of blend in on the maps?
So Orbital, they said was like a mid-size map, so you're gonna see bigger maps and smaller maps in the full game, and it felt fine with 128 players. We'd never had a full match of 128 human players because this was a limited event. At most, I think it was around 60 or 70, so closer to what you know from Battlefield.
There's bots as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and the rest were filled by
bots.
Lieutenant Furayama AI, Lieutenant whatever.
How do the bots feel in Battlefield?
They are actually pretty, like, surprisingly decent. They can do a lot of shit. Like, they can fly, they can drive, they will pop and shoot, they will go prone, they will hide, they will throw grenades. They're basically a lot. If you're not really paying attention, because bots have like a distinct kind of more traditional uniform, whereas specialists are obviously doing their own thing. They're kind of their operators are not wearing a uniform per se. So if you know that you're looking at an AI, it takes a second to be like, oh, is this and then sometimes when you kill him, you're like, oh, that was an AI, huh? Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Or like he was so far away that you couldn't even make out the costume. But yeah, the AI is fine. They really kind of elevate some of the moments, especially when they help you push. They're not super smart. Like sometimes, or in my experience, at least a lot of times, they would die in large numbers, and you would look, towards the point and see 7 or 8 icons signifying that someone died here, and then you'll go and see like all of these people are AI. None of this. It's fine. Whatever. The map size What I found most surprising was the map size didn't feel like, even though we were playing with double the number of players and the maps are easily much bigger than any of the past Battlefields, it never felt oppressive and like, oh, like, or like crowded, and
Yeah,
it never felt quiet. It just felt like Battlefield. Uh, it was a decent balance, and I just didn't. I expected the large player counts to be much more visible and present.
yeah,
Maybe that will happen when you know that all 128 players are people, are not half of them are AI. But for me, it was like, this is Battlefield. Some quiet moments, some running around, some getting shot from a sniper hiding in a tree. It's just Battlefield.
yeah. I think that's to do with it's to help game pacing, so they can balance it around the fact that there will always be how much say 100 and how many players?
128.
128 players, regardless if it's player or AI. They can balance the map sizes and balance sort of the density of things because they know it's always 128. Um, I think that's awesome. And the visibility, did you say the
The visibility thing is actually one of the good points in this beta. If you play Battlefield 5, the visibility in that game was rough, and it took them a
yeah
while to adjust it and never really reached, I think, a good place. In 2042, I feel like there was a concerted, conscious effort to not have these problems again.
yeah
So right now, enemies, like when you like move your mouse across one, there's like a clear outline. There's like a red thing in front of their character. You're like, this is an enemy.
yeah
It's not perfect. Sometimes you would sweep your mouse over someone and then not see them and or think they're a teammate and then they shoot you. The friendly kind of blue icons sometimes take a little too long to come up,
yeah
and they make you stop to like ascertain, and then, oh, that's a friendly, and then you move on. Uh, some areas have like dark places. You're never gonna catch all of those. Like, I got shot from people that I genuinely, even after they killed me, I still don't know where they actually are. Like, I see a blob of orange, the Battlefield kill cam,
yeah
but where? Like, where are you? Are you between the bush and then like where is the gun? Right. I've been in like a couple situations, especially in a map like this, but in buildings, they're usually well lit. You're not gonna find some corner McDougal like Battlefield
yeah
5, just like, what? Oh, your body's already halfway through the wall, and just a gun popping out. Okay, I haven't seen any of that. Thankfully. The other thing I will say is this is a problem that a lot of people expected, which, because there is no uniform anymore,
hmm
you're running into the same faction. Excuse me, the same specialist everywhere.
yeah
It's going to take you a second to identify is this a friendly or an enemy. So, when a McKay is coming your way, that could be a friendly McKay, it could be an enemy McKay. And if
yeah
the HUD is not popping up quickly enough, which is what happened to me a lot of times, is that people will shoot friendlies for a while and then realize, oh, that's a friendly, and then
god dang.
yeah,
Well, hopefully that gets looked at, or maybe they just speed up the hard or just tinker a bit of the
yeah.
timings with the UI. Where are we in our notes? So we spoke about class interplay a little bit, did we?
Yeah.
Um,
I would
codependence. What did you want to say there?
I would just add that, like, it's one of those things, like the scale. It's not better or worse than past Battlefields. I'm
Yeah,
sure you could have like your theories about, like, oh, people are not forced to play the class anymore. No one is gonna give you ammo. No one is gonna give you health. And then
yeah,
people are like, no, let people do what they want. They're gonna do what they want anyway. I
yeah,
really couldn't tell you one way or another. The only thing I can tell you for sure is that I still ran out of ammo almost every life.
yeah.
And
Okay.
part of that was on me because I was taking pot shots at enemies that I had no business fighting.
Miles
Uh,
away, you're like, I wonder if I
but
can hit him.
exactly, but I was, part of it was like kind of academic. I just want to see the bullet drop and see the
Yeah,
kind of spread at range, just to see, can I do it?
yeah,
Uh, uh, so maybe if I was a real frugal with that, I would have been fine. But nobody was dispensing ammo. In the times that I have ran out of ammo, I either picked up a completely new weapon off the ground,
yeah.
or sometimes when a person dies, they drop like a little ammo box that you would
hmm
walk over and then refill your ammo. But ammo is definitely a problem. Maybe that will balance itself out when people are, every squad
Playing
has an ammo clip.
properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
everyone's just like, let's just fly through all of the classes in the beta. But once it stabilizes and everyone realizes what it takes to win, um, yeah. So we spoke about the weather effects and the dynamic events. A little bit. You said that the liquid nitrogen canisters explode and something launches and da, 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 da. What did you want to? say anything more about that?
They're just interesting kind of events that happen.
Yeah.
They introduce some chaos to the match, which I always like in games like sandbox
Yeah.
games, because it means things become unpredictable, and we're not out here playing a competitive game. None of this matters.
Yeah.
And when a tornado hits, it's really fun to see, like, it tearing apart whatever area it's traveling
Yeah.
over, and wrecking the day of helicopters and planes trying to dodge it and then getting pulled into it. Uh, uh, it's a cool effect. It's a cool feel. I jumped off a building and opened my parachute just to see if it will pull me, and like the swirling kind of wind pulled me over, and it was really hard to try and get away from that sort of gravitational
Yeah.
pull. I had to cut my parachute and then try to move and then open and shoot. It was a cool sensation for sure. The other thing on that map, so the tornado, it can show
Mhm.
up anytime, and it's not always the same size or severity.
Okay.
And sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not. And sometimes when it happens, like rain rolls in and the map kind of darkens. It's kind of reminds me of Parasol Storm from Battlefield 4,
Mhm.
the map with the ship that crashes into a building.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And other times the weather is clear and it's all like, it looks like Erangel from PUBG, like all
Mhm.
green and fine.
Okay. Yep.
But which makes it interesting. Like, hopefully you're seeing in our footage, it's all the same map, but sometimes you can see like lights are necessary to see, and other times this is absolutely fine. And all
Yeah.
this is just the weather and time of day effects, which are randomly
Yeah.
happen. Uh,
Do you need a certain class to ride the tornado? Because I know that you can actually fly in the tornado on the wingsuits. Is that for everyone or?
the wingsuit is only by one specialist, which was not in the beta.
Oh man.
But you can, if you really like, if you try to get to have it catch you, it's gonna be like, I don't know. You can, if you have a tall building that you want to jump off of, or if you want to jump out of a helicopter or something, it's gonna, you're gonna get pulled.
So you don't die then. You don't die when you're in the
You
tornado.
take damage, but it's not instant. Like, you can try to escape if you like,
Yeah.
but it depends on like the maneuver that you're gonna do, or like if you're a person or a vehicle, or but it's, it's gonna wreck your shit if you try to fight it, or if you try to, if you're not paying attention, it's gonna definitely kill you. But you
Yeah.
can. It's not an instant death. It's like more of
Yeah.
a let's go around this for a while.
Okay. That's
The
good
other,
though. Go on.
excuse me. The other thing in orbital is the rocket launch, which I don't know how you can make the launch fail. I've seen some people do it. Sometimes it fails on its own.
Yeah.
Sometimes it fails like in the assembly stage. When it does, it's a cool explosion, big crater, destroys a bunch of buildings. When it flies, it's also cool because it fills the area with the exhaust and it looks cool.
Oh yeah.
It's another cool event. I haven't seen it really affect gameplay. It's off in its own kind of area of the map, so you either catch the launch or you hear the fucking massive explosion go off and be like,
Yeah.
"What the hell happened there?" Oh, the rocket fell. But yeah, they're neat stuff nonetheless. I like that they have this in the game.
Yeah, I think you said something there, but it's not a competitive game, and I think that's one of the best things of Battlefield, that they're allowed to just have these spectacles and these things that leave you in awe, just to, because it's just fun. It's like, holy shit, boys, a tornado's coming in. What the hell is going on? In any other game, it's like, okay, decreased visibility. This is ruining the sort of competitive experience. But in Battlefield, it's like, oh yeah, this is what's up. Battlefield, it's like playing a movie almost sometimes. We are going to talk about the inconsistencies, the lack of clarity, and the unfinished aspects. I know
Yeah.
I already made a disclaimer that everything that we're speaking about here is subject to change because it is the beta. But go on, let's speak about
Yeah,
that.
so they said that this is a few months old, this beta build,
Yeah,
and obviously, if you're familiar with game development, they usually have branches. So this branch was broke off from the main thing of some time ago, so they don't introduce new bugs,
yeah,
whatever it is. Game development is complicated. I don't want to rag too much on it, but there are some stuff that you like. My thing with like the general lack of clarity. What I mean by this is, there are elements of the game that the game is not like, there are things in the game that the game is not communicating well, and it's either leave you confused or unsure of what you did actually worked or not. For example, the the Surette pistol. I'm just going to call this Surette pistol. I think that's what it's called, where you
Yeah.
heal teammates from range. In previous Battlefield games, when someone needed help, they had like a flashing icon on top of them, and the game highlighted like, look how low their bar is, and you hit that button, which like throws the medical pouch, and that thing like rotates 180 degrees. It travels through planets to get to the but you don't even have to have line of sight on. You just hit the button, and someone is screaming, "I need medic." You hit the button, and then that thing sticks to them, and it's not you don't have to worry about it. If you have it, you hit the button, done. This is a pistol that you have to aim, and I feel like it operates on the same rules of the main guns. So if the friendly you're trying to heal is like strafing and having a firefight and I'm crouching and doing it, you have to like pick, and it's like you waste 6 bullets trying to heal this one person for like 25 HP, and they have already healed. And I feel like maybe they need like an aim assist on it, or like something where
bullet
it's like
magnetism. It needs like a magnetism,
like Halo. Like just let me, come on. So this is and you never actually know if someone needs help. Like unless you're watching their health bar, and they're right next to you, you don't know. Like you don't know if someone needs help or not. The only clear icon is when someone dies, because you have the sort of pulse icon that this tells you that someone needs a revive. But other than that, it's just, does this person need help? If he's like, he's getting shot, I'm gonna shoot him with a dart. That's one example. Another example is fighting armor. You get like the with the rocket launcher, or with another tank. You get the sort of like the X confirmation when you hit a target. But the feed doesn't tell you how much damage you did, or what you actually, like, what's happening. Like, are you disabling certain parts? It just says on the right, parts disabled 10 XP. What does that mean? So again, you have to watch the health bar, and this is not always easy to do, because you have to hold it there for a few seconds when you're getting shot with the tank. You have to hold it there. Say, okay, I did about 25 damage, so if I hit him two more times, it's weird and inconsistent. Usually in Battlefield, it's like 25 damage. Okay, he has 75 left. Like that's it. 35 damage. He has 75 left. You know what it is. You know that tanks are less armored on the back, then the sides, and then the front is where most armor. This game does not communicate any of that. You don't know. I actually don't know if you gain more damage by shooting tanks in the back. Stuff like this. There are weird inconsistencies of like things that you think should happen that don't happen. You get a lock and a tone and a solid tone on your anti-air missile. The helicopter doesn't fire flares, and you see the missile just get close to it and just snopes out. Do it again.
Just disappears.
And it's like, are you wearing like the shields from June? Like, what's happening here? Why is this just like,
maybe it's just maybe that's a visual bug for now.
That could be part of the netcode, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, Battlefield games have always had a problem with something called dusting, which is basically when you fire a rocket at usually an air vehicle, you see the effect, like you see it hit, but the vehicle takes no damage. This game does away with that. The rocket does not hit, and you don't get the damage. So I guess we're progress. Like, so at least before it was like frustrating. You clearly hit that target. Why am I not getting credit for the damage? Now it's like it does not hit. I don't get credit. So at least okay, whatever, I'm not going to fight this guy anymore.
It sets the expectations. I don't think we go too deep into things that are a bit buggy right now. I think that's unfair in the beta. When the full game launches and we get to break the full version, that's when we can go into it. Lastly, I think we speak about the performance and the netcode. Battlefield's always been one of those games for PC that always ran exceptionally well. The optimization was always good. A benchmark for PC players. You always see that in benchmarks for new graphics card just came out. Battlefield Ultra settings. Let's see how it goes. How did it run for you? You're playing on PC.
Yeah, so I'll just say I have an i7 9700K and the 2082i Ti. So no slouch, but also not the top of the line. Because you can't buy hardware components right now. I was playing at 1440p. And I lowered my settings no less than 3 or 4 times as I'm playing. I would load and I'd be like, "This is no. This is I." Anytime I look at this rocket like this area is open area, I lose 40 frames. Okay,
Jeez.
let's put it on medium. Medium's fine, right? And then you play for like a few minutes, like, no,
Nah.
I'm turning off ambient occlusion. Don't need it. I'm
Yeah.
turning on AA. Don't need it. The full game will have NVIDIA DLSS. This beta does not, which is going to be a massive help, judging by
Yeah.
the history of this feature. But the performance left a lot to be desired. I can tell you, like, every other Battlefield game runs better than this. This game, outside of the scale, which obviously is a massive hog on a CPU, outside of that, it does not look significantly better in really any way to justify why it's so expensive. And so it was a little
Why?
disappointing.
What's expensive? As in development?
No, as in the performance hit on your.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it was a little weird. I think I landed on like a mix of medium and sometimes low, and turning off a bunch of like the expensive effects just to get it to a consistent like 90 to 120, which I know to our console friends listening to this is already too much. But the point is it drops significantly and it's inconsistent. It's not that like, oh, 120, poor me.
Yeah.
No, it's that it's not consistent enough that you can be like, maintaining the thing. So if it does this on PC, I wonder what it's going to do from 60. Is it going to drop to 40 and 30 on the new console? I don't know.
Hopefully not.
Optimization is going to, obviously get better. Drivers are going to get better. DLSS is going to be a thing. I'm not super worried about it, but it was definitely kind of annoying to be like, nope, turn them down again. Nope, turn them down again. The netcode, just lastly, I would say a lot of inconsistencies as well. The problem was like rockets missing that I was talking about. I played, we couldn't pick the servers. There was no server browser in the build we had. So you just hit play and then the game matchmaking just takes care of you. Sometimes I landed, I'm based in Egypt. I get good pings to Europe. Most of the time. Sometimes I landed on a server that I would assume is somewhere in Western Europe, which usually gives me from 60 to 80 ping, which is fairly manageable. And other times I landed on somewhere on the East Coast and I had 140 ping, and that shit was rough.
Like people rubber banding all over the place.
Rubber banding, especially vehicles, shots, like you would see someone, you would land a bunch of shots on him, and then he would turn around and one-shot you. I'm sure this is giving PTSD to some people who have played Battlefield in the past. I will just say, disclaimer, this was, in my experience, only on servers with like over 140 ping or like 130 ping.
Yeah. Servers will be more populated in the beta as well when everyone can play. So servers closer to you will be filled. So
yeah, and I assume the game will be much better at putting you servers close to you. This was a limited event, so understandably they wanted people to be playing together and they couldn't have just one server. I'm not super fussed about that, but there were some inconsistencies with like sound and stuff like that. You're like, is this netcode? Is this bugs? What's happening?
Yeah, what's going on here? To round this out, this is a long conversation. Oh my God, 50 minutes plus at the moment. But 2 things that you like and 2 things that you dislike. Start with your likes first. Just the first things that come to mind. That like your highlights.
I'm happy the combined arms combat and chaos from modern Battlefield is back. Battlefield 1 and 5, were action, had some moments for sure, but like nothing quite like a helicopter softening up like a defensive position or like a building full of enemies, and then you rolling in with your tank buddies, and someone is dying and reviving, and someone is like throwing, what a rocket launcher blowing up the wall. Like that feel is still there. It's still Battlefield, and I loved it, even for a few hours. I would also say, even though the gunplay felt arcadey, the animations were a step up, like the reload animations and the gun handling and feel of like the sort of immersion of that. It's not quite on the level of like Modern Warfare 2019, but it was a really step up over Battlefield 4. They're kind of doing the
Modern Warfare 2019.
Yeah. What?
Wait, what?
Modern Warfare 2019. That's not the Call of Duty.
Sorry. So I'm thinking, what the heck? Continue. Sorry, my brain just lapsed there completely. Yeah, I was thinking Modern Warfare 2019. I'm thinking, what Battlefield is that?
No,
forgive me. That's me being stupid there. Continue.
So that game, if you don't know, had a lot of like Battlefield kind of people Battlefield fans begrudgingly kind of playing it because it has such sublime combat, like in gun feel for a Call of Duty, and it's such, like, in my opinion, the standard for that stuff. So everyone was looking to Battlefield 2042 to be like, okay, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to respond? And they have responded. It's just maybe not in the same ballpark as, or in the same quality level as Call of Duty. And again, beta, this stuff could be better by launch, but it was impressive to see like the well synced reload animations and how kind of cool, I guess, they felt.
And the dislikes now. So you said Battlefield still has the Battlefield moments, and the gunplay and the guns animations is
the presentation, I guess, for the gun
presentation, and then the dislikes now.
Performance. I just mentioned that it will be better, and the LSS is probably gonna save us a lot of trouble at launch.
Yeah,
but it was really concerning, and I would just kind of attach the netcode to that, which, like, the technical aspect of the game was not very ready. I know, old build beta, but we have to point out these things because we are not so far from launch, so I don't know what state the game is in. The other thing I will say is just a bunch of the UI elements felt unfinished, or like they came together very last minute. Like the kill feed repeats names randomly. The icon, like the sort of skull icon that shows you killed someone, sometimes shows up, sometimes does not. It feels like it's not quite on the same quality as the rest of the UI. So it's like someone like had an all-nighter just to put this in so that you can tell you when someone is dead. There's no kind of but BF1 and BF5 had like a distinct kind of sound cue when you get a kill, and that was very satisfying. You'd hear this in Overwatch as well and a bunch of other games. This one does not have it. I'm sure they're going to add it in the future. I think they even mentioned something about all this stuff being different in the final game, but it was parts of this game felt very shaky in a way that you're like, if we were playing this in like June or July, I'd be like, it's fine. But we're playing this like 5 weeks from release. It's worrying.
Okay, that's fair to say, but as you did say as well, this is a build that is months old and that has just been, it's like, here, come on, like, this is marketing strategy. It's like, come on, everyone play this, and then of course they're gonna hear the community and say, oh my god, sliding's too OP, and then day one patch, you can't even slide anymore. They just removed the feature completely. Like, what? We missed the ball on that one.
Good.
But yeah, that I think that rounds up the conversation. I'm buzzing to hop in and play. I know when this goes live, everyone will be playing and will have played it as well. But I hope you enjoyed the conversation, fans of VT247. Hearing Sharif give his feedback, thoughts, and impressions of the Battlefield 2042 beta. Peace out, everyone. It was fun. Sharif,
look for more stuff on the site about Battlefield.
Yeah, we're gonna have loads of write-ups, loads of videos. As I said, without us rambling, without us rambling, you can just watch some leisurely gameplay. But yeah, peace out, everyone. Take care. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed it. It's free and you can always unsubscribe at any time. Take a look at our other videos if you like. Also, check out VG247.com for around-the-clock gaming news and updates.